Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to this live technical discussion series. And today we'll be having very interesting discussion related to galvanizing for steel structures. So as a structural engineers, always we have this kind of a questions like what should be thickness for galvanizing, what we should specify into the tender for the projects, and also what may be the life expectancy when galvanizing is done. So I just recall one of the incident. I visited one of the site before 3 or 4 years, and it was near to the coastal area. It was an industrial plant, and galvanizing was done for the because corrosion was there. High amount of corrosion was there due to the coastal area. Uh, but just after 2 or 3 years of service life of the plant, at many locations, it was observed that the galvanizing came out from the surface. So it's very important, like how we specify in the tender, and then of course life cycle cost is very important, and of course the basic parts related to the metallurgy aspects are also very important. So we'll be having Dr. Arnab Chattopadhyay with us shortly with respect to this galvanizing topic. Okay, so let's get started now. Okay, so let us invite Dr. Arnab Chattopadhyay into the live stream. Hello, hello, Dr. Arnab
Hello,
Chattopadhyay.
hello. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Yes, very good afternoon. Yeah. So we were just talking related to galvanizing, and of course, this is one of the area which is in my mind as I was just sharing one of the incident that always the specification in the tender related to galvanizing is very important, and for that it is utmost important that we understand the basics of galvanizing from the metallurgy expert like you. Okay, so it's our honor to you have on the board for this very interesting topic. Okay. So before we start, can you please share, the brief overview about galvanizing, right? And
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
how you are connected with the galvanizing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
great. Before I go into the session technical briefing, I'll give
yeah,
you a small introduction about me. I
yeah,
spent most of my life with the galvanizing because I started my career in Tata Steel in galvanizing line, and then I did my PhD also in galvanizing. Around 14, 15 years spending there, I shifted to other places where I was working with the process chemicals for the galvanizing lines. Still now I'm attached with the galvanizing as from a process consultant point of view, as in who can improve the efficiency of the process, who can improve the product quality. So I am with the galvanizing everywhere. With this, I will welcome you all to this session. It's a going to be a very free session where you can ask your question, you can raise if you have any doubts. I know while you working every day, you may have different views or different queries in your mind. So this is a good place where you can ask questions and you can clear your doubts. I'm sure that end of the day you will have a lot of clarity about the subject. But one thing I must say before I start, that this small time is not enough because this is a subject which can be discussed over a month, over a year. So we will try to summarize everything in a small session, but always it needs a detailed discussion. With this, I will go into the galvanizing process. But am I visible to everybody? Your voice is not coming, Bhavin.
yeah.
Oh,
Yes, you are visible. Yeah,
yeah. Galvanizing is like wearing a coat like what I am having right now or a sweater during your winter.
yes,
So there are few things. I always say there are few ways you can improve your your protection against winter. One is that you can take a medicine like our filmstars take during their Bollywood shooting. You can see them in the top of a mountain, Mount Everest, with a bear without having anything. That means they are having using some medicines. So steel can have improved that process so that it can change or it can improve the corrosion protection. Second part is that without that you can have a jacket like things which will improve your protection against weathering or corrosion. Galvanizing is like that.
Yes.
Galvanizing, actually zinc is very powerful in terms of protections.
Yes.
Zinc improves the corrosion's behavior of the steel because you are producing the steel. Steel is coming from the mines. You have a lot of efforts to make from the minerals to the steel. Huge element, huge environmental impacts is there. You have to invest a lot, and it is a irony that once you make the steel, it starts corroding.
Yes.
You are making from the soils, you are having the steel right now after end of the day, a big investment, $1 billion,
Yes.
and once you have the steel in press, it will go back to its original. That means it will start formation of the oxide, and you can stop that. But what we can do is that we can make the process slow. One, by taking the medicine I told, like any Bollywood starts, and that is a different story. But another process is that you can put a jacket, and this is a jacket where galvanizing or like zinc comes. If you see the activity of the metals, a metal activity series which is being taught also in class 8 9, that zinc is active than iron. So if I put zinc over iron, zinc will be corroded faster than the iron. It is a called sacrificial part where zinc sacrifices its life to protect iron. And in the terms of zinc corrosion rate is quite slower than the iron. Zinc will corrode, but the rate of corrosion is slower. By this way, zinc protects the iron. This is called the galvanizing process. There are many ways you can apply the zinc. You often see that there is a zinc paint you can easily apply. You can spray zinc powder over the over the steel structures. You can get a good surface finish. But these processes are temporary. But if you dip steel into the liquid of zinc and get a solidified zinc after end of the process, which is coated over the steel surface, will give you a better protection, permanent protection, and improved protection quality. This is known as galvanizing, where steel is dipped inside the liquid steel, and end of the day, you will get a solidified zinc layer over the steel surface, which gives you a protection. That is galvanizing.
Yes. Yes. Good. So in the registration form, we received nearly 50, 60 points. And out of that, roughly nearly around 40 points we have shortlisted for discussion. Okay. And from that, again, few points are highlighted, which we will take for the initial discussion. Right. And then we will take up additional points. From the Excel sheet if possible. And online participants can also put their questions, queries into the chat box. So we'll be glad to respond to the same during the session. So we'll take up those questions at the appropriate time during the session. So please feel free to put up as many points as you would like into the live chat. Okay, so should I share that Excel documents which we have received
Yes, yes.
from the
Please.
registration form? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, just a minute. Let me share. I think one of the question was which are the methods for the galvanization, which may be explained if possible.
Yeah, this is a good question. We must know before we discuss anything about the galvanizing what is the method. I told one method you can see in a very crude way that painting on the steel surface or by spray painting on the steel surface. We are not discussing that about. Second one is a hot dip method. Why it is called hot dip? because you have a bath of liquid zinc where you will dip your steel surface. There are two processes. One is called continuous galvanizing process, another is called batch galvanizing process. Continuous galvanizing is for the cold rolled sheets, which go for the automobile or for the construction applications, where you have a coil will go through annealing cycle to heat up the steel surface, and then after the annealing, the surface is completely reduced so that you have a virgin iron over there, which will be directly without coming in contact with the atmosphere, which will go into the zinc bath and come out as with the coating. That is called continuous galvanizing process, which is very much required for the cold rolled sheet, which are used for the automobiles, which are used for your roofing applications. You know, a lot of places you'll see zinc galvanized steel roofing. Those are made by this way. Automobile, like your car body, roof of the car, all are made of the galvanized sheets. And galvanizing process is this. Second process for the constructions or where heavy engineering are involved, you will see that the thickness of the strips are quite high, where you cannot apply this process of continuous galvanizing. There you need to have a batch galvanizing where you have a better control, you have a slower process, but you get a good coating. In automotive or continuous galvanizing, the basic difference is the coating thickness is very low. It is about 8 to 10 micron. It maximum goes up to 120 to 140 GSM, gram per square meter. But in case of batch galvanizing, your GSM or the amount of coating is quite high. It is above 200 most of the cases. In case of batch galvanizing, once you have your process, once you have the component, it has to be cleaned properly with the degreasing or maybe acid degreasing process. You need to clean that. After that, you need to put some flux. Flux is an agent which makes a bond between the steel surface with the galvanized or with the zinc. So you put the flux, with the flux coated samples are dipped inside the liquid bath for some time. In continuous galvanizing, dipping is only few seconds. But in case of batch galvanizing, it may be few seconds to minutes based on your requirement. And then it is dipped completely in the bath. And after few minutes, you take out the samples, which will be solidified. And then you do some cooling process so that you get a rapid cooling and get a zinc surface coated. This is the batch galvanizing process. So basic difference is continuous galvanizing process. You have an annealing, and in the cold rolled sheet, it's a faster process, but the coating thickness is low. But in case of batch galvanizing, you have thicker components where you put flux. Flux acts as an agent between the galvanizing and the steel surface. After that, you do the galvanizing. Process is slower, time is higher, you get a higher coating thickness. This is batch galvanizing. And most of the structural engineers are interested in batch galvanizing.
Yes.
I think that covers, but if we go into the details of the process, it actually takes a longer time. And this
Yes.
session is not enough because process is I think is an 20, 25 days course. Is a semester process for this.
Yes. Yes.
So I tried to involve, but there are a lot of YouTube videos. You can always have a look. There are a lot of
Mm.
books where you can have a look on the process itself. But we can discuss in the details in a longer session.
Right. Right. Okay. The next question, which is highlighted, and I think someone also asked from the live chat also, that will galvanizing the steel will increase the strength or decrease the strength for the structures?
Uh, yeah, that confusion when I was also started my career, I had that confusion. Galvanizing practically has nothing to do with the strength. It does not change the strength. Whatever is your incoming material strength, you can have the same strength on the galvanized part. Galvanizing is a process of coating something. It does not change the microstructure. It does not have any role in the microstructure because hot dipping process is a surface phenomena and it is done in the 460. And in 460, normally for few minutes there is no change observed in the steel metallurgy or steel microstructures. So I can tell you, galvanizing does not have any role in determining the strength of material or determining the changing of the properties of material. Galvanizing is a coating process to give you better corrosion protection.
Yes. Yeah, there are a few interesting questions which are highlighted.
Yeah.
I think we can take this one. What are the long-term benefits of galvanization?
Yes. That's a
Yeah.
good. Yes, long-term benefits. Yes, you are investing something because galvanizing is
Yeah.
an extra process. You are
Yes.
having the steel with you. You are putting
Mm.
something extra. Like we know
Mm.
add-ons. Once you go to a pizza shop or you go to any restaurants, if you ask for something else, they will charge something else. Extra pizza, extra cheese topping, extra sauce, anything is chargeable. Here also, you are putting an extra coating over the galvanized, so it is a chargeable things. Quite right. But the long-term benefit is quite high. Long-term benefit in terms of the protection of the steel, because steel is very precious things. You are putting inside your building, and you don't want to change it in every 2 years, 3 years. And steel will be naturally degraded against the atmosphere, because atmospheric corrosion will take place always. Atmospheric degradation will take place, and nobody can afford changing of the steel in every 4 or 5 years, because it is a structural part. Galvanizing helps in that area only. Galvanizing increases, as per the technicality, 4 to 5 times your corrosion life. What needs to be replaced in 20 years can be shifted to 60, 70 years. Galvanizing means you are having a good protection. Weathering, that means atmosphere, when it wants to react with the steel surface, it has to come across a barrier of 200, 300 microns of galvanized layer. Then it can touch steel. Like in a war, we always protect the king. In a chess game, we are having pawns who are covering the king. Here is the same thing. Others will get time to go to your king. Atmosphere, that means oxygen and other pollutants, will have longer time to penetrate because of the galvanized surface is there. Galvanizing increases your corrosion life of the steel surface a bit. Not a bit, it's a significantly. 2 to 3 times or sometimes 4 times also. Also, it increases the luster of the steel surface. Your aesthetic approach is also there, because the galvanized surface is like lustrous. It will improve your aesthetic point of view beside your corrosion protection. But mainly, galvanizing increases the corrosion protection manifold. I think that answers the questions properly.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. The welding of galvanized structures.
My request is that we can take this question after some time,
Sure.
because this is a very
Definitely.
tricky
Sure.
point, which I
Mm.
think I will discuss in the end of
Yeah.
before closing of the session. Once we
Sure.
have general understanding about the process, then we'll go to the welding part.
Yeah.
It's
Then can
tricky.
we take up this one? Which are the reference as per Indian code?
Yeah, there are
Yeah.
many references.
Mm.
Normally, most of the references are the adaptation of the ASTM standards.
Mm.
ASTM standards are most helpful in this. I'll mention few of the ASTM and IS standards. So IS 4759 is the mother standard for it, and ASTM A123 are the mother standards. ASTM 123 is the base standards. Based on that, IS 4759 is adopted. There are few other standards which are related with 4759, but these are the two standards which needs to be discussed thoroughly, where the coating relations, where the relationship with the microstructure versus coating, what sort of coating for different sections are quietly given. Like I can tell you that under 2 but not less than 1.2 you need to have minimum 340 gram per square meter coating. Those are the things mentioned in the 4759. Also, the amount of sampling, what sort of test you will be doing, everything is mentioned in 4759. 4759, therefore, is the basic standard for the galvanizing process, which is adapted from ASTM A123.
Yes. Yeah. Then the second question, I think this is the question in which I think most of the engineer may be interested, that how to calculate required thickness for galvanizing.
You did not to calculate it. So,
Mm,
because in most of the cases, once you buy it, because there is
mm,
a process of calculation, obviously.
okay.
Once you will be buying, it will be specified that how much GSM coating is given. By your eddy current method or by any cross-check method, metallurgical method, you can cross-check that. So normally, 1 micron means 8 grams of square, like there is a calculation, but that has lot of effort, lot of errors come. Normally, by a test certificate, you can cross verify that this amount of coating is giving this amount of GSM. There is a relationship between the coating versus the micron versus the GSM. But ultimately, in a test certificate, your GSM will be mentioned. And by ASTM standard or IS 4759, you know that minimum value of the average mass coating should be mentioned based on the sectional things. Like a tube, 10 millimeter dia and over, you need to maintain 300 GSM coating minimum. That is given in the standards. So, based on the test certificate, you can always judge what amount of coating they have given.
The minimum thickness of steel that can be galvanized.
For continuous galvanizing, I have seen 0.12 millimeter.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
sometimes thin sheets for your roofing application, dooring application in automotive, zero point
Mm,
0.1 millimeter galvanized steel also can be galvanized. So
mm,
thickness has no problem. But you
mm,
cannot do in the batch galvanizing because it is
mm,
not economically viable. But in
mm,
continuous galvanizing, many steel plants are producing zero point 0.1, zero point 0.2 day and day out.
mm. Yes. Okay, I think this question is answered, right? Regarding precautions to be taken while designing these structures, like covering any strength reduction due to galvanization process, etc.
Yes,
Yeah.
galvanizing has nothing to do with the strength.
Yes. Yes. Okay. This galvanized steel structures advantages with respect to RCC structure.
Yes, they're very interesting questions because India has started using galvanized rebars in cases
Mm,
of plain rebars. There is a plant in the, I think in Punjab, they have started producing successfully. This
mm,
is a very interesting topic also in my mind.
mm,
Galvanizing structures, number one is that it does not change the requirement of RCC structures because RCC, whatever is the requirement, basic requirements, all are satisfied by the galvanized structures. Used in terms of bond strength, in terms of cement to steel ratio, there is no change. But what is changing is the corrosion life. It increases 4 to 5 times inside the cement atmosphere or the concrete atmosphere. You know, concrete atmosphere is kind of basic atmosphere. And the advantage of the galvanized steel is that it gives a protection in the wide range of pH. We are aware of the importance of the pH. From the 5 pH to about 11 pH, all the galvanized structures are stable, which is not possible with the bare rebars. Bare rebars will always corrode inside the concrete, but galvanized structures don't corrode. If there is any scratch, you know zinc has a self-healing properties. So if you have a scratch, zinc from the adjacent area will move across to that place and protect it further. Galvanized structures, there are ample examples in US where it is found that after using 20-25 years, there is not at all a single sign of corrosion. Corrosion increases for RCC structure is a significant improvement which you can expect from galvanized steels. In India, we have started using that in Lotus Temple, Delhi. It is fully made of galvanized structure, galvanized rebars. Sydney Harbour Bridge is fully made of galvanized rebars. And you see there is no sign of corrosion. So RCC structures will all the properties will remain unchanged with the galvanized. Beside that, you will have a better gripping properties and better corrosion life with the galvanized structures.
Yes. Okay. This quality of steel used for galvanization. Can we take up this point?
Yes, good question.
Yeah.
Quality as per the requirement should be determined because you need to have your own quality requirement. For
Hmm.
galvanizing, anything can be anything and everything can be galvanized. You go to ASTM standard, it is written that everything and anything can be galvanized. Thing is that what is your requirement? What sort of steels you are using? You are using high strength steel. You are using structural grades where you need some fatigue strength properties. So you will determine your steel, and all the steel can be galvanized in a batch galvanizing process. There is a limitations for the steels in the continuous galvanizing process because there are some high strength automobile steels which are not very much continuously galvanized properly. But in case of batch galvanizing, most of the steel, even there are some problems with the silicon steels because silicon has some reaction with the zinc, which is called sandalene effect, which causes problem for the galvanized surface. But those also can be handled. So most of the steels, even high silicon steels, can be galvanized. It is your requirement to determine what sort of steels you are using. All at the end can be galvanized.
Yes. I think you answered this question, right? How about using
Yes.
galvanized reinforcement steel at coastal areas and
Coastal
foundations?
areas, yeah. I will tell you.
Hmm.
Zinc has a very, very interesting behavior in the coastal area. There are a lot of studies done in India also that by some of the government organization that they put different structures in different places in India. India has a lot of places where you can, lot of coastal areas like Bombay, Mumbai, Chennai, Calcutta, most of the places, most of the metros are at the center of the coastal areas where sea shore is not far, where galvanized structures have proved to be very protective against the normal structures. You know, saline atmosphere is very dangerous for any steel surface because steel has no protection against the saline structures. Where galvanized steels in the coastal area produces at least double protection than the bare sheets. So galvanized sheets will give you a lot of improvement in the coastal area in comparison with the bare steels. That is already proved, and in Indian conditions, a lot of study work are already there, which is in the public domain. You can have a look to see what sort of advantages galvanizing is producing in the coastal areas. Yes,
Okay.
this is a
Then next
question.
one.
Question
Yeah.
number 9.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know whether that person is online or not. I would
Hmm.
like to get a more clarity about the question because HRCR are very difficult subjects to handle. I need a better clarity on this subject. What Mr. Kamal Kanan wants to say, behavior of HR and CR still being material properties, same here. Because I'm not very clear about the question, what he wants to
Hmm.
say.
Yeah.
Because he
Yeah.
made some comments instead of a
Hmm.
question.
Hmm. Yeah. So if he's online, then let him clarify this question with more details. Then we'll take it up. Yeah. So this is Uday has put up this question about the durability, right? That what what will be the durability when galvanization is done?
It depends from the situation to situation, because actually there will be no guarantee clause on your products. But galvanizing gives you 2 to 4 times based on the areas. If you have a highly polluted industrial area, you can get a double life 2 times than the normal life. Or in a normal domestic area where lot of not very much pollutions, not of saline atmosphere, you can expect 4 to 5 times. In a city life like Mumbai, Bombay, Calcutta, or Chennai, you can expect a 3 times more life expectancy than the normal RCC structure or normal structures.
Mm,
It depends. You have a what sort of pollutants you have in your atmosphere, what sort of salinity in your atmosphere, what sort of temperature cycle you are having. Like there are some places where you have a huge temperature difference between the summer and the winter. What sort of precipitations or the rain amount of rain in your area. So there are a lot of factors, but ultimately in any places, minimum you will get double life expectancy than the bare steel structures. That is minimum. But guarantee clause, you can test it at different conditions. I'm sure, but nobody gives a direct guarantee because lot of issues can happen during the atmosphere, because studies specific to different atmosphere are important, which is not done properly. Second part is that during handling, a lot of scratch can be generated.
mm,
So those will hamper your corrosion life. That is why manufacturers normally do not issue any guarantee certificate. But as a general understanding, general science is there. It is at minimum double life than the bare steel sheets. Like about any doctors, when doctors prescribe you medicine, they don't give any guarantee that you will be out of the fever or you will be out of the disease in next 3 days. Because how is your life cycle, how you are practicing, and how you are taking the medicine, those things are very important. So they give you medicines so that you can get rid of the problem very easily or very soon, but they don't give any guarantee that 3 din mein it will be over. Same thing is here. Lot of conditions are there, lot of handling issues are there, but general understanding is that you will have a double life expectancy when you have a galvanizing. But it sometimes become prolonged if you have a proper usage, proper atmosphere is there.
yes.
Now, can we take out the welding or anything else?
Sure. Yeah. So before we get to the welding, I think I am not able to locate that question, but there was one question related to what will be the quality assurance criteria for the galvanizing.
Yeah, ASTM A123 or 4759 IS talks
Mm,
about it. Number one is the surface finish.
mm,
Quality assurance first. There should not be any surface problem. There should not be any defects. Surface should be even, and minimum and maximum coating thickness should be mentioned. That if you have a coating from 300 GSM to 600 GSM, what is your minimum value, what is your maximum value you are offering? Is there any defect at the surface which is visible? What is the strength after the galvanizing? Because there is a chance that galvanizing bonding may be a problem. So what sort of strength you are getting after end of the galvanizing? Those things should be mentioned clearly. First is the surface finish. What sort of surface you are having? Is there any defect? Is there any visible defect rather? Or any mark is there? Scratch marks are there. Second part is that amount of coating you are having, that is the minimum value and maximum value, because it is a range. Nobody gives you a continuous coating. Somebody will be having minimum to maximum range. And third part is that a strength part of the steel, what you are offering. These are the minimum quality check you must be having for any galvanized steel surface.
yes. Okay. Now we can talk about this welding of galvanized structures.
Yes, you know welding means joining of two metals and joining of the steel surface. But now it is coated with the galvanized. There are few things. One is the technical aspect, another is the safety aspects. Technical aspect, once you start, if you are planning to join two steel surfaces, you need to remove the galvanized coating from that part. You need to remove it. There are standards available how to remove the zinc from that area. Then you do the gas welding or any type of welding. During welding you will have some zinc fumes, so from safety point of view you must be covered enough so that you don't inhale anything zinc fumes. Once you have the welding process is done, again you need to re-galvanize that place in by the process of zinc painting or spray painting, because you cannot leave that place bare, because once you have the bare steel, your adjacent areas is galvanized steels, so you will have a two material concept there. One is zinc, another is steel, and that place will have rapid corrosion if you don't protect. I hope you are understanding my point. Once you are not covering the place with galvanizing or with the zinc, you will have a bare steel surface, and your neighbors, that means adjacent areas, are galvanized. So you will have a bimetallic conditions there, which will increase the corrosion, which will enhance the corrosion process there. So welding will be the place where you will find corrosion if you don't coat the place properly with the zinc afterwards. So first process is that you need to remove the zinc before you do the welding. You take good safety precautions so that you don't inhale any zinc fumes. Third is that once your welding process is over, you need to coat the place with the zinc spray painting or any zinc rich painting, so that you don't create bimetallic conditions, which is very dangerous for any corrosion process. So these are the these are the precautions you need to take before you complete your welding process. The welding process should be handled by an efficient, well trained person. Galvanizing welding cannot be done by anybody. It should be well trained, certified person who should do the galvanizing welding. And finally, you have to very serious how much you are protecting the surface after the welding process. You need to put proper zinc rich painting over the steel surface so that no bimetallic conditions can be created there. That is a big subject, I know. We need to discuss thoroughly over there, but it is not enough today to discuss, but this is an overall how to do the welding process here.
Yes, yes. Okay, there is one question from Suresh Kumar. Like, sir, if we are using galvanizing reinforcing steels, is there any complications in bonding with the RCC?
Yeah, good question. I have already discussed this. Again for your thinking, I can explain this. Actually, there is an improvement in the bonding process, because cavitation and other things are important there, which will be not taking place. I can give you some reference. uh, I can if you allow me, I can show a particular slide. 1 minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it possible to share my screen?
Yeah, you can click on the plus present button at the bottom of your screen.
Yeah. Can you see my
Yeah,
screen?
yeah, it has come now.
So you see that it is a comparison between the epoxy coated rebars and hot dip galvanized rebars. You will get most of the conditions better. Bond to concrete, cathodic protection, everything is far better than the normal or epoxy coated rebar. I have the reference for these slides. It is from the American galvanizers. I think that gives a clear idea that what sort of improvement we will be expecting from the galvanized rebars over the epoxy coated or normal rebar. Is it okay?
Yes. Just let me share the file again. Yeah. Okay, Devang has asked that here. This is the question, like how much hot dip galvanized thickness may be considered for the ground mounted solar modules mounting structure.
Uh, it is not specified for anything ground mounted. It depends on the thickness. Again, I can show you some
Yeah.
ASTM standards, which is with me. Uh, I'll show you 1 minute. Yes. Is it visible?
Yeah.
This
Yes.
part, this part clearly tells that
Yeah.
for what sort of thickness, what sort of zinc coating you can have.
Okay. We are not able to see this document. We are able to see just only the screen where different PPTs are mentioned.
Okay. Let me, sorry. So let me stop this.
Okay. Meanwhile, Mr. Kamal Kannan is online. So he's clarifying when two components, one with CR and HR steel, is roll formed with same chemical and mechanical properties, and component is subjected to compression test CR, is expected to behave better, but is continuing in the next para. We had a scenario where HR was better than CR. Is it really possible?
HR is having a severely plastically deformed. That is the beauty of the CR. So always you will get a CR property better for this because you are plastically deforming this place and you are having a solid strengthening there. So CR will be a better. You need to have a better metallurgy with the HR. So once you have to have a better HR than the CR, you need to change your metallurgy part. Composition wise, you can overcome, but in a same metallurgy, CR will always give a better property than the HR in this case. As I know, there are some confusions with the HR and CR. This is dependent on the application part, how why you are going for the HR, why you are going for the CR. It is a material selection which takes an important role here, and that needs a big session, that why we will be going for the CR and why we are going for the HR. What are the advantages of both the type of steels? What HR does mean it actually, or what CR means? So it takes a longer session. But in one-to-one situation for the same steel, HR will be having an inferior property than the CR. If you want to improve with the HR, you need to work with your metallurgy part.
Yeah, he's adding one more point. Like, is there any standard or codes other than ASTM A123 or IS 4759 available for predicting the life cycle assessment of
There are
galvanized?
some NACE guidelines. There are some NACE guidelines, but there I don't find any standards which will give you life cycle. There are process to determine the life cycles, but prediction of the exact life depends. Again, I'm telling what sort of things you are having in your atmosphere, what sort of practices you are having, where your structures are being put. Like any medicine, how you are taking that medicine, what is your lifestyle. Based on that, your remedial will be there. So there is a method to determine the life cycle, but life cycle prediction is a very tricky method based on your atmosphere, based on the where you are applying the galvanized structures. Everything will be dependent.
Right. Okay, there is one question like, can we use couplers for the galvanized steel reinforcement?
Yes, we can. Should be again that should be also the galvanized parts, because the my suggestion, not it is a not a suggestion, it is a bible, that do not combine galvanized sheets with galvanized steels with the bare strips. That gives a condition for the bimetallic corrosions. Avoid that one. If you have everything galvanized, try to have everything galvanized. Do not mix galvanized with the bare steels, because that's a very dangerous situation where you will be having a bimetallic corrosion conditions. Try to avoid that.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Kamal Kanan is telling thank you for the response. Okay, you are trying to share some document.
Yeah, but how to share the PDF?
Yeah, just click on the plus button, present button, and first of all, you open your PDF.
I have opened.
Yeah, now you just click on the plus present button, then click
Yes,
on the
now.
share
Now it
screen.
is.
Yeah,
Yes.
it has come now. Yeah.
So you will see the left hand part table 1. For different thickness, average mass are mentioned, which will lead to different life cycles. So it is based on what sort of structures you are putting, you need to maintain a different coating for that. It is not that what sort of applications you are having. If you are putting a 2 mm thickness, if you are having more than that, or tubes 10 millimeter tie or more than that, there is a minimum coating you have to mention. That is told in this standard IS 4759. Is it clear? It is about the cross section they are talking about. But for this section, you need to maintain this amount of coating. It is not talking where is the application. Your engineer know where what application and what sort of steel thickness you will be interested in. Once you are fixed with your steel thickness, then you can go back to the galvanizer. As per the standards, they will recommend what sort of minimum thickness they should maintain. Is it
Yes.
clear?
Yes. Yes. Okay, let me share. Let's see if a couple of questions are remaining. I think Jatish is asking same question. Specifications for galvanization and life of member galvanized, and what may be the frequency of repairing. So as you said, it depends upon several factors, right?
But at least you can expect double or triple.
Hmm. Hmm.
I can show you one more slide. Give me a minute, please.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, this is very interesting. That will give you a good idea about the what is the advantage of galvanizing over others. Yes. Can you see this?
Yeah,
There are
yes.
some actual case studies done in US. You can see the estimated time for first corrosion from 11 times to 72 times years. That means in lifetime you don't need to maintain properly. These actual case studies in US. I think that gives you a good idea about what sort of advantage you will be getting. Initially, you may be investing a some amount of rupees, but outcome will be tremendous. Is it clear?
Yes. Okay, one question. Should we have to do zinc coating at threaded portion of reinforcement bars after threading is done?
After threading, if you have a zinc peel off, you need to put some zinc spray painting or zinc coating you have to put. Don't leave any place uncoated once you are using the galvanized sheets. Because again, I am telling that it will create a condition of bimetallic corrosion, which is very much unwanted.
Okay. Use of galvanized steel in coastal area.
Already discussed that
Already
it
discussed.
increases in the marine atmosphere. Yes.
Hmm. Corrosion resistance. Okay, codal requirements, lessons learned, and recent research in welding with cold from steel, welding product as details. I think it's everything is related to welding.
Yes.
Yeah, application of GI steel structure in India.
Yes, I told you the GI steel structure is galvanized steel structure. Biggest example is the Lotus Temple, Delhi.
Hmm. Hmm.
There is another temple coming in Vrindavan,
Hmm.
which I could not recall the name of the temple, which will be finally in place in by 2025. Fully reinforced galvanized sheets.
Hmm.
Lotus Temple is the biggest example of the galvanized steel structures in India. There are others are coming and you have a plant for the galvanized rebars already placed in Punjab. Third and
Hmm.
second and third is also going to come up. So people are now getting matured to use galvanized steels over the bare rebars.
Yeah. Yeah, this again, I think question in similar line, but mentioned differently. It says that the zinc coating in galvanized steel can compromise the welding bond. How can we overcome this problem while working on large scale projects that requires significant amount of welding?
Yeah, the basic is same. One is you
Hmm.
need to apply an efficient welder. Second is that before you do the welding, you need to remove the galvanized from that portion. And once you are through with the welding process, then you need to put some zinc rich coating or spray zinc spray painting over there. Don't leave that place bare. That's the key for any welding galvanizing. Galvanizing of the welding of the galvanizing products rather.
Yeah. Yeah. One more interesting question is coming up. Like, how about drilling holes in the galvanized structural sections? Let's say for the like bolting. So, any precautions to be taken?
Yeah, because in drilling time you will have some zinc peel off. Again,
Hmm.
you need don't leave that place bare because those places will initiate cracks and that is called a galvanized corrosion cracks. Because corrosion, if you have a bare space, bare place, bare steel, that will initiate corrosion and ultimately that will create the crack. So if you have any place bare, you put some zinc rich paint over there so that the entire place becomes zinc painted.
Hmm.
There is another question from Mr. Kamal Kanan, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a role for spangles with respect to strength other than aesthetics?
There is no role of the spangles other than the aesthetics. And we are, as an expert of galvanizing, we always teach our customers don't use spangles. Spangles are not good at all. These are the potential places for the corrosions. There are customers who are interested in spangle sheets because it looks good, it gives a natural aesthetics, but those ultimately those are not good. Those are very good looking. Sometimes you see good looking things are dangerous. Those are the potential places for the corrosion process. Zero spangle materials are far better in terms of corrosion protection than the spangled one. Spangles are nothing to do with the strength and other things, but spangles are not used in the structural application. It is for the roofing applications.
Yes. Okay, SM is telling I am fresher structural engineer. Any advice from you, sir? How can I guide and learn more? Okay, so you can connect with me separately. We can discuss related to this.
So I think people are now about some clarity about the subject.
Yes, yes. I think it's very good discussion. So at least one thing is very clear, as you rightly said, that everything needs to be galvanized. No combination should be done.
Yes,
That's the most important part.
definite. And second thing is that you will have a increase in the life, but how much it depends on how you are practicing.
And that's very interesting or very difficult decision which has to be taken in terms of a life cycle cost during the initial stage. So as you rightly
Exactly.
said, there are several factors which needs to be considered for predicting the tentative life cycle cost, so that we can take appropriate decision in terms of the coating, right?
Right.
Right. I think we have covered almost all points, right? What we received through the registration form.
Yes.
Bonding we have discussed. Okay. Okay. I think we have touched upon all points.
Efficiency of the galvanized steel.
Efficiency.
Yeah. The last question.
Yeah.
Uh, Efficiency in terms of corrosion. Yes, it is quite efficient. It is
Mm,
saving your material. That's the best thing because
mm,
you, after so many efforts, you are making the steel, and steel
mm,
will be lost in few days if you don't
mm,
protect it properly. So
mm,
galvanizing itself increases the efficiency of the steel structures in that
yes.
sense. Aesthetic
Mm,
sense also it is efficient.
mm,
I don't know you are mentioning anything else or not, but obviously in terms of corrosion efficiency, in terms of aesthetic efficiency, definitely increases.
yes. Okay. So it's telling thank you for throwing the light on the subject.
Yeah, but we need a detailed discussion on this subject thoroughly to give
Yes,
you
yes.
a brief, good introduction about the process, what are the factors affecting this. So I think this is a good session that you get a good idea. With
Mm,
this, we will go back and have a longer session so that we can generate more queries and have a more clarity on this subject. That
yes,
should be the approach.
yes. Uh, any point on passivation process and its importance on strength?
Strength has nothing to do with the passivation, number one. Number one, passivation is a temporary protection process. Especially in case of India, it is a good role. Because now maybe you are producing one steel in Jamshedpur and you are sending that to Chennai. Or maybe one is in Jaipur, you are sending it to Guwahati. So long distance travel by road, so
Mm,
there are chances of temporary, there are chances of corrosion,
mm,
deterioration in the surface. So in order to
mm,
protect that, we need to put some passivation samples,
yes,
passivation over the steel surface. Passivation has nothing to do again with the strength of the material, but it increases the temporary corrosion process.
yes. Okay, Ved Prakash is asking if we use galvanized steel bracket on powder coated aluminum profile fixing, will there be issue of bimetallic corrosion?
But it is already aluminum profiled fixing,
Mm,
and you are using galvanized. Yes, there will be bimetallic because
mm,
you are having two metals. Whenever there are two metals, even between gold and silver, there is a bimetallic corrosion. So if you have a two metal system or three metal system, always you are inviting bimetal corrosion.
So even if we have used highest quality of, let's say, bimetallic metals, or two different metals, then the chances of corrosions are increasing significantly, right?
There will be a corrosion always. You are inviting a unnecessarily problem by bimetals.
Mm. Okay, Avdesh is telling a very informative session. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, okay, so we have reached around 5 o'clock now, almost 1 hour of time.
Yeah.
So, so good. So very good discussion we had, and at least we can have overview of this subject, right? And as you rightly said, we require a detailed discussion, because and still I can see the queries are coming up. So one of the question is, will insulation use in between will solve this issue of bimetallic corrosion?
But you are having a touch between those two, how we will put the insulation. I'm not very much clear about the what design you are thinking. You must be
Mm,
having anything. But if you can put a barrier between the bimetals, whatever the insulation or any other process, that will
mm,
definitely improve. But you must be having some design consideration that is in your mind. I'm not sure
mm,
about that. But if you can prevent the connection between two metals by
mm,
insulation, it will definitely improve the corrosion protection.
mm,
No doubt on that.
mm. Okay, one more interesting question. Throw some light on fire resistance of galvanized steel.
Yeah, that's a big topic again. Galvanized steels with a fire resistance is another topic which are being reviewed right now,
Okay.
because you know that fire needs a that there is a chance of melting of the galvanized sheets in case of fire. This is a big topic which people are discussing right now,
Mm,
because in galvanized steels with some fire resistance protective coating over it, you can increase, you can put in the fire resistant, but how much efficient it is for the fire resistant is still a matter of debate. That needs a detailed discussion. Scientists are divided whether it is an efficient or not, whether you need to put something else against over the galvanized cities. There are some debates. So I will not give a direct solution or direct answer to this problem, but there is an issue. There is a topic needs to be discussed separately on this fire resistant galvanized steels.
okay, Ved Prakash is telling. Thank you for the clarification. Okay, okay, so we have reached around 1 hour of time, and still, if you have further questions on this, then you all are requested to share the additional queries on maybe on the YouTube, or you may send those queries separately to us, and then we may work out certain more detailed sessions in the future. Of course, it was a basic introductory kind of a session, and as rightly said, that we require detailed discussion for each topic, right? Wherein we can take even case studies also if possible, so that we can have more better understanding about the subject, as well as the relevant doubts and queries can be clarified, right? Okay, so would you like to say something before we close for the session?
And I'm happy that people are thinking about the galvanizing again,
Yeah.
because somebody if is interested in galvanizing, it gives me an immense pleasure. People
uh,
are thinking about the galvanizing, and it is the people who can introduce galvanized structures over structures. So I
right.
believe in you all, that you will increase, you will say to your boss, you will say to your company that please look into the galvanized steel. It will initially give you a cost, but in a corrosion protection time it is tremendous. So with this knowledge, go back to your workplace, try to implement galvanized more and more, so that we can save something from our GDP, because corrosion loss is a big part of our GDP.
Yes.
It will increase our wealth, it will increase our properties. So go back and increase, insist your boss, insist your company to use more and more galvanized products. That's a request I have to you all. It is a great session. It is wonderful to give you answers to a lot of questions. It may help you, but please go back, insist your company, insist your boss to go for more usage of the galvanized products. That's the takeaway from this session. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So thanks a lot for sparing your valuable time and throwing light on this very important issue. And as you rightly said, we will definitely work out together. Some more detailed sessions wherein we can discuss each and every point with a lot of details. Okay. And also thank you all online participants as well as participants who submitted the queries through the registration form. So actually, it helped us to arrange the entire discussion. Okay, so thank you, Dharamraj. Okay, so with this, we are signing off, and very soon we'll be coming up with the one more interesting live technical discussion. So keep following us. So with this, we are signing off now. Okay,
Okay, bye.
okay, bye, bye. Yeah.